This is PlayerProps.ai. This for winners research. We run it up with every betting tool you know in each perk. Travis tested waters, help you swim even the feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you PlayerProps.ai. This for winners research. We run it up with every betting tool you know in each perk. Travis tested waters, help you swim even the feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you.
Hey guys, it's me, Travis, with PlayerProps.ai, and this is what we're targeting for the final day, the final game of the first NFL playoff weekend, the wildcard weekend. We already have a video out for you that covers Saturday wildcard games. We already have a video out for you that covers Sunday NFL wildcard games. This one, of course, as I just mentioned, for the one single event on Monday for NFL playoff weekend, first weekend, wildcard weekend, Houston and Pittsburgh. Something to note that I find somewhat interesting. So I do you guys already know that I won like the biggest fantasy football league in the industry, in the nation, like last weekend or whatever. But another thing I do in this industry contest stuff is a football futures where you get like, I think it's like something like $10,000 of fake money, and then you do the same. You know how with a fantasy football draft, you go like if there's 12 teams, 1 through 12 in the first round, then 12 through 1, then 1 through 12, and it keeps that going back and forth. So it kind of works like that. But what you can do is you can bid anywhere from $100 to I think $1,700, maybe $1,800 of this fake money, this fake bankroll it gives you, and you get to choose individual events of football futures. So who's going to win the Heisman? Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Who's going to win Coach of the Year? Who's going to get like MVP? Every possible futures awards, something that happens at the end of the season, you essentially get to pick that with whatever amount you want to do, and then once it's off the table, nobody else can get it. So it's just a unique kind of contest. So I like to go crazy, balls to the wall, where I like to pick. Normally, what people are doing in this league is they're picking like one Super Bowl, one MVP, and they just kind of dip their toe in every pool. I'm like, and no, because this is just we're not actually betting on these. We're just picking these, and so I'm using game strategy when I pick these. And so I did a lot of Super Bowl picks because I want to give myself the best chance to win the Super Bowl. So I'm going to pick a chunk of Super Bowl plays, but I don't want to pick like the odds-on favorite beginning of the season. I think it was the Eagles. I think they were gone. Maybe they weren't gone, but I don't want to do like a max bet on the Eagles because it wouldn't pay out that much. So there's a certain like tier of odds. Anyway, the reason why I'm explaining this is because out of all of the teams that I picked, and I picked like, they had to be pretty decent odds that if I got it right, I would essentially win the entire thing just from that one pick. And I think I had like 5 or 6 teams, and only 2 of them actually made the playoffs. And the 2 teams that made the playoffs is the Houston Texans and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The reason I bring that up, because that's the game we're talking about. So whatever happens in this game, I'm guaranteed to have, for this unique contest, a team that's going to win the Super Bowl in, at minimum, the divisional round of the playoffs. So whoever wins this game, rooting for them. I'm rooting for them to win the entire Super Bowl for that contest to get another ring. Anywho, I know that means nothing to you, but I just thought it was pretty interesting that the 2 teams that I had that made the playoffs are, one of them's getting eliminated right off the bat, guaranteed. Anywho, so let's focus on this. We already know from targeting Pittsburgh a lot this season in the show, they have the trash defense. And as we see here, I didn't mean to click on that. I was going to use the cursor here. That after the season was over with, they finished with the 3rd worst passing defense. And then in the last 3 games, they've allowed the 6th most passing yards. So they're still trash, which is interesting. And then we look at the Texans. The Texans in fantasy football was a defense that I targeted often. I knew they were going to be a pretty stealthy defense, and they were. They allowed the 6th least amount of passing yards per game. Passing yards in general, passing yards per game, same thing. But they did allow a little bit more over the course of the last 3 games. Houston is the first team in a long time, I believe, to start 0-3 and make the playoffs. The last time that happened was actually Houston, like 15-something, I don't even know how long ago it was. But it's only ever happened 4 times. But this century, essentially, this is the second time, and it was both Houston. So they started off like crap. I know that CJ Stroud was often hurt. They never even got their starting running back. He's not even going to play in the playoffs, Joe Mixon. So they've essentially carried themselves from starting horribly, having quarterback injury things, to winning, I don't know, but they win like the last 7 or 8 of their games to get to where they are now. So it's very interesting that they are on fire. They have the longest win streak. I'm pretty sure they have the longest win streak out of anybody going into the playoffs. I don't think the Patriots have. I think they lost somewhere near in the middle of the last group of games. I'm pretty sure the Texans have the longest win streak. So coupling that fact that they are on fire, they're pumping on all cylinders, clicking all cylinders, whatever cliche saying you want to do there. We're not going to be targeting any Pittsburgh receiving or passing over because of the red or the orange. We're not going to be targeting any Houston under. So, knowing that, let's go to our minimum line requirement. And if you get to this point and your first question is, how do I know what the minimum line requirement is prior to watching this video? Good question. There's a channel in the Discord that you should be in. That's where you ask for help, because if you need help, you have to ask for it. You have 0 excuses of joining this Discord because it's a free to join Discord. It's a free to join app. No excuses. Once you get in that Discord and then you follow the single step that is connecting your accounts, once you connect your accounts and unlock all the channels, there's a channel in there. It's called the Trifectas channel. It just says Trifectas. That'll have, for every sport, for every stat, here are the minimum requirements that would result in something being considered a trifecta. For receiving yards, it's 40. So there are only 3 players in this game that have a line of 40 or higher. Let's focus on DK, who didn't play last week because he punched a fan in the face, which you can easily argue the fan said some very bad things, debate him into doing it, but he still, of course, should have not punched him in the face, even though the fan deserved it, but he missed last game. But regardless, like I said, we're not going Pittsburgh over, and the only Pittsburgh player on this entire team that has higher than a 40 line is DK, who's projected by a smidge to go over his line. So DK is not playable in this game. That being said, we have 2 other players. We have Nico and Dalton. If we can look at Dalton real quick, we can instantly notice, based on the 0.4 and the fact that his projection and his line is almost identical, that there's no edge to play Dalton. We then go to the only remaining player, Nico. His line is 69, his projection 71, 3.1% difference, or roughly a 2.15 true difference if you just subtract the projection and the line from the projection. So he's the only person. Well, I mean, technically, I guess you can argue both these are favored over, but there's no difference. There's no edge. So we're not going to be targeting any of these players unless we go to the props comparison and we see a line for Schultz much lower than 41 or a line for Nico much lower than 69.5, which we're going to do. Let's check. Monday Night Football. Receiving yards. So we are scrolling on down. Nope, 41 on DraftKings and One is his lowest line. 68.5 is only 1 yard lower than what the 3 other books have here at 69.5. So it doesn't seem, even though the matchup's nice, it doesn't seem like he's playable because there's no edge. And we don't bet things just to bet things. You bet things when you have a reason. That's why we have a checklist in Discord. Does this player or does this bet check all 6 boxes? If yes, then it's a bettable thing. If not, then don't waste your money betting on it. Real quick, what we've been doing all of these episodes for Wildcard Weekend is we want to kind of look and see what the AI is saying on the game script. What the sports books are saying is that Houston has a minus 155 money line, and if you don't know what that means that the sports book, specifically DraftKings, says that Houston has a 60.78% implied chance to win. What our AI projection is, which is why this says AI projection, is that Houston is also, the AI says Houston's going to win this game, but a 69% chance. So because this is higher than this, that's why you see this green here. This essentially is saying the AI likes Houston to win 8.22% more than the books do, which of course means that the spread's going to be favored. And then we go to look at the total as well and see that the total line is very low. 38.5 is a very, very low number. So the sportsbooks are like, they're not going to score in this game a lot. And then our projection kind of backs that up, that they're not going to score too much, but they still probably should score more. Let's see who the culprit is here. Let's look at our team totals. So I think what's happening here is that the reason the AI thinks the over is going to hit is because they think right now the sportsbooks have the over-under for Houston at 20.5. The sportsbooks are like, or the AI is like, I think they're going to score a field goal more than that, 24 points. It doesn't really see too much of a difference on the Pittsburgh side. 17.5 is what DraftKings has for the over-under for total points. The AI says 18. No real difference there. And then, of course, you want to pay attention to the accuracy, the fact that they have not scored as much or as little as projected. So their scoring output, they're scoring offense, and then they're scoring defense. How much the defense stops scoring is very all over the place, which is why these numbers are pretty low. But we're not going to bet on that anyway. But it's interesting that focusing on Houston, because there's not really anything to focus on for Pittsburgh. Our last play, the play of the day so right now we're on a massive streak. If you have not been paying attention and you've had knowledge that PlayerProps.ai exists, you've missed a lot of money, a ton of money actually, from if we hit. So we have a video I mentioned already for Saturday wildcard, and there's a video already for Sunday wildcard. If Saturday wildcard hits, then we will be on 26. I believe Saturday will make 26 straight days of the show that you're watching right now, this play of the day show, the show that's designed to make you understand how to use this app correctly, has not had a non-profitable day in 26 straight days. And there's no other YouTube channel to Planet that can say that, because every other YouTube channel to Planet only focuses on the sex that sells, which is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 pick parlays, because they think, well, they know, I mean, if you keep clicking and watching those videos and keep losing money with them, they're going to keep making that content. That's the only way to afford them losing the money of lighting their money on fire, is you're paying them back by watching their video and getting that YouTube revenue. I'm not sure if you understand how that works, but you are fueling their horrendous, probably often watched content. But we don't do that here. We focus on things that actually have a chance to win, which is why we're on a 26-day win streak after Saturday. So we're not doing receiving yards. I'm going to remove this filter here. I'm going to quickly pan over to I'm going to see something here real quick. Okay, that's what I thought. I'm going to go over to passing yards, since we're still on the subject of passing yards allowed. Aaron Rodgers was the last play. He was in the last game of the regular season. Our last play that kept our win streak going is Aaron Rodgers over like 200.5 passing yards, and he threw for a bananas amount of passing yards. And then, of course, Tyler Lue missed that last-second game-ending field goal to send Aaron Rodgers to the playoffs. If he didn't miss that field goal, Aaron Rodgers hopefully would have retired, because I'm pretty sure everybody's tired of seeing this guy. But I don't know. If there's if he loses this game, does he retire? Or if he gets to the Super Bowl and loses, does that make him retire? I'm not sure where his mindset is right now. I'm not sure if he has a mindset right now. There's a lot of funny things I can say there. So the player that's versing the toughest defense has projection yard higher than his line. The player that's versing the softest defense has a projection that's lower than his line. So it doesn't seem like any of these are in play either, because we don't like to bet on things that don't make sense where we don't have an edge and we have conflicting data. But 229, projection 224. What I do want to see is what the variance is across the books on both of their passing yards lines. So 198. Well, we would go under on A-Rod, 205, 206, 208, but that's still not enough. And then 227, 229. Yeah, there's not enough there. So we're not doing passing yards. We're not doing receiving yards. So we continue. Let's check out our rushing yard options here. Houston, super stout rushing defense. Only 3 other teams have allowed fewer rushing yards this season than the Texans, and they've still been pretty stout the last 3 games. Then we look at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's no slouch. They've been in the bottom third, roughly, of rushing yards allowed, 20th, and then they've been there's only 2 other teams in the last 3 games that have allowed fewer rushing yards than Pittsburgh. So we're not going to target running back overs for either team, but let's take a gander at unders. So we're not paying attention to CJ Stroud because the baby line and we don't do quarterback rushing yards. So if we did filter the 40 plus for rushing yards, the first one that would show would be Woody Marks, but I'm just going to quickly scan all of these. So it looks like 985% difference. The AI says he's going to scramble at least once. I think he had a 20-yard rush last game. But no, you want to bet on this. This guy tries everything in his power to not run and to not get hit. So the only thing that makes sense so far would be Woody Marks versing a semi-stout rush defense. AI says the Texans should win. GameScript says that if a team wins, they're running the clock out at the end of the game. And you run the clock out with your running back. So this here, outside of GameScript, looks interesting. But factoring in GameScript, like who's going to be running out the clock if it's not going to be Woody Marks? Then you can give it to Nick Chubb or any of the other running backs. Woody Marks, didn't he miss a game for health? Maybe they'll not have him run out the clock to conserve him for the next round if they're already up by X amount of points. Or if Pittsburgh wins, this looks a whole lot better. But that's not really what the tools are saying that Pittsburgh is going to upset. Projection was almost dead on last game. Said 49, he got 48. 71. Man, like his projections and his performance is all over the place because like nobody can figure out how much attention is this player actually going to get. It seems like he's very hot and cold as well. 30 rush yards, 71, 48. So this is his last game, 27, 4, 27, 7, 20, 10. Accuracy through 14 games played is 57. Not the worst. Scroll down a little bit. His line did dip down. It started at 54. It went up to 55, down to 54, back to 55. And of course, if we're going under on a player, you want the highest line possible. In his last 3 games, he's averaged 12 rushing attempts. He's projected a little bit more than that. Might be barely slightly involved more in the receiving game, which doesn't affect us whatsoever. And if they're losing, then he's probably going to be targeted a lot more. His longest rush of the last 3 games is 13 yards, or averages 13 yards. He's projected to get under that. He's projected not to have a run more than 11. Rushing receiving is 55.66. I think the only reason, this is kind of what his average is. Before we spend too many more brain cells, let's see if we can get higher than 55.5. Nick Chubb's line was at 13.5. It's only so the highest is 56.5 on BetMGM, so just 1 yard higher. Good to know. So let's just switch this to BetMGM real quick. What's interesting, let me pull something else up here real quick. Rushing yards, yeah. What am I missing here? Pittsburgh. They allowed 100 total rushes in their last game. This is with Derrick Henry too, because I was trying to see like, if you have, Derrick Henry is arguably one of the most elite, probably not even arguably, he's the toughest running back in the NFL. This man is 600 pounds of muscle. So Woody Marks is not Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry in the last game against Pittsburgh did still rush. He had a 41-yard rush that helped propel this number, but he averaged 6.3 yards per carry, 126 yards. So it looks like he got, there's like the two other running backs on the team got 3 carries collectively. Then they versed the Browns 2 weeks ago. And the Browns kind of used 3 different backs, not evenly, but there wasn't a lead back because QJ broke his leg. So the highest in the Browns game 2 weeks ago was 27 yards. They held the 2 main running backs who combined for 19 carries to an average of 2.6 yards per carry. I'm going to go back one more game to the Lions, who have 2 amazing running backs. Pittsburgh did beat the Lions 3 weeks ago, and Gibbs had 7 carries for 2 yards, and David Montgomery had 4 carries for 14 yards. One of the best running back tandems in the NFL was held to 16 yards rushing by the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And if Pittsburgh Steelers want to have a chance to win this game, I feel like they have to stop Woody Marks. Because if Woody Marks goes for Derrick Henry 140 or 126, whatever it was the last game, the only concern is the game script. You have Houston winning this game. It's at Pittsburgh too, so that's take note of the fact that Pittsburgh, even though they have the ridiculous, abysmal record to squeak in on the last play, literally the last play of the season, the last play of the entire regular season, is why Pittsburgh is in the playoffs. And they get to host a home game because how the playoffs are designed is ridiculous and erroneous on all accounts. I think the only other thing we can look at is kind of receptions, because I think that Woody Marks one is the most interesting. Yeah, you're betting on him to get a catch. No. I don't think any... Yeah, nobody has really any kind of difference there that's interesting. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to go with. I think we're going to go with good old WM there. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I'm not considering. No, I think that's it. I think that's what we're doing here. There is already a Saturday and Sunday show, as I mentioned for the 20th time this episode. And why do I have to keep repeating myself? Because I know there's slackers out there that I will do the below the bare minimum and expect sports betting success. And by below the bare minimum, I mean hitting the play button and getting to this point and being like, oh, what did he say at the end? Because I'm not gonna listen to any of the guidelines of how to use the app to print money. I'm not worried about printing money. I'm worried about doing the absolute least, and still, for whatever reason, expecting success. Success is equal to your effort. You. Yes, I'm looking at you. The person that fast forwarded got to this point. Success is equal to your effort. Are you applying yourself? Are you giving any effort? If you're giving zero effort, guess what you're going to be? 0% successful. 2026 is about you being different. Better person for you and your family. If you lost a lot of money early, if you lost any money in 2025 betting on sports, it's probably because you're doing the least or below the least. So it's highly recommended to stop doing what's not working and start doing what is working. If you're curious, well, Travis, what is working? I don't know, but this show on YouTube is on a 26-day win streak for NFL, so maybe there's something to this app and the guidelines to help me print money and stop losing money. Well, spoiler alert, there is. So start applying yourself. I'll see you guys in the Discord, which you have to join because it's 100% mandatory and there's no excuses unless you're just lazy, which is not even a good excuse anyway. But we'll see you in the Discord. Ask questions, learn, do better, be better. Good luck, guys.